I always considered myself someone who was very open-minded. I was wrong. I wasn't. I haven't been open-minded for quite some time. When I speak of open-mindedness, I don't mean in regards to learning new perspectives or learning new opinions and learning new things. One of the most overlooked obstacles to self-actualization and self-improvement and self-growth, I believe, is open-mindedness. And it was not until this month that I actually fully realized that. That being open-minded, if you're not that, it will stunt your growth and personal development as a human being. It takes a lot to offend me, but if you know me well enough, you can press certain buttons and you can get me offended. Most people don't know how to do it though. But one of the biggest things about open-mindedness is that if you are easily offended, even if it's a different perspective that you don't agree with, then you have a very, very, very closed mind. Because that's what being offended really is. When someone challenges you, when someone criticizes you in any way, how you respond to that, your behavior to that, determines whether or not you are truly an open-minded person. And for so long, I considered myself this open-minded individual, but what I didn't realize is how important open-mindedness is in regards to yourself. Self-honesty, intellectual honesty towards you, yourself. And if you don't have that, you get in this cycle of bullshitting yourself all of the time. You bullshit, and I see people do this all the time. Now that I can see this, people bullshit themselves to the point of where they then project their own insecurities onto other people, and that comes out in anger, in really mean comments, insulting people, being constantly negative, having a negative mindset, having a negative reaction. Open-mindedness is kind of like science. In the realm of science, we have, let's just say, a theory of something that we think we know all about it, and when new information comes along that disproves that theory or that piece of scientific information, we say, hey, this is no longer, this was wrong, and we adjust the science that we know to adjust to this new, accurate information regarding this scientific thing. Science is always growing, it's always learning new things, and it puts things that are wrong down below, and it puts things that are right and correct, and it keeps on growing to become a more accurate theory, a more accurate scientific whatever. And in the same way, that's how we have to work towards ourselves in terms of open-mindedness, towards our own personal development and growth. Because if we don't do that, we will be stunted in growth, we will never grow. But what's even more important than open-mindedness is understanding that you have an ego that you don't see that's there. An ego that until recently I didn't even know that I had about myself. I have this past year, for the most part, I have been very intellectually dishonest and bullshitting myself on a lot of different things. And I stunted my own growth by not being open-minded to criticism of myself. In relationships and people who care for me, people who I care for. I disregarded criticism and became defensive. I let my ego, the thing is with ego, it likes to put you in a place of comfortability. Your ego doesn't want you to feel inconvenient. It doesn't want you to feel uncomfortable. So when someone comes to you with, hey, you know, this is a character flaw that you have, or hey, you know, I dislike you could improve on this type of painting that you've painted. Our immediate reaction is to get defensive. Our immediate reaction is to feel uncomfortable and upset because it challenges us to improve, or even if it doesn't improve us, your response to that situation shows you your growth level. Someone criticizes your painting. Say, yeah, maybe I could improve that. Someone criticizes and say, you know, this is a bad character flaw you have. You need to work on it. And instead of getting upset and angry and saying, no, I'm fine, I don't need to work on anything, you say, you know, you sit back and you look at yourself and say, yeah, you're right. Or maybe I do need to work on myself in this area. See, the problem is that I always thought that if someone challenges your ego, that's a bad thing. No, it's not. When someone challenges your ego with anything, really, it could be constructive criticism on a paper, on paintings, on anything, but I'm talking about more personal development, growth as a human being, you, yourself, your characteristics, your qualities, your traits. When someone criticizes you and say that you can improve on this and you need to analyze this, self-actualization towards yourself, and you think that by them doing that, it's challenging your ego. Something that challenges your ego is not wrong. It doesn't mean it's bad. Every single person has an ego to some extent. You know, it's like a scale, like here we are, and now I want to be up here, and I have to work myself by having an open-mindedness, having an open mind towards everything around me, new perspectives, especially in regards to myself when people tell me that I can improve on something. Because my immediate action was always a defense mechanism, to always bullshit myself, then project on to other people my own intellectual dishonesty. And I realized that by not having an open mind towards myself, I have pushed people away. And it's very humbling, it's very painful, when you realize that. When you realize your closed-mindedness is the cause of someone being hurt, or being pushed away, or wanting nothing to do with you. Open-mindedness is, I think, one of the most overlooked obstacles to your personal growth as a human being, as an individual. We don't see we see open-mindedness as this thing of, you know, opinions and hearing different opinions and perspectives, and that's true to an extent, it is. But it also applies to you and your character traits, your qualities that you have. How open are you when someone tells you that you have an anger problem? Or that you're overreacting to things that you shouldn't be overreacting to? That determines whether you truly have an open mind. How you receive that. How you accept it. I guess what I'm trying to say in this video is that when your ego is challenged, that's a good thing. Don't let see, that's the thing, when people get easily offended, they we like just to stay in an area that we feel comfortable all the time, and that hinders our personal development and growth. What we don't realize is our ego is holding us back from so many new things that you can be accomplishing, that you could be learning, that you could be growing. How easily you get offended by things universally. I'm not talking about religion or things like that. I'm talking about like your character. Is a reflection of how open-minded you really are. And sometimes you have to go through a lot of pain to get to that point, to realize that you're truly not an open-minded individual. And it will hurt and it will be a humbling experience, but I guarantee you that you will grow and you'll be able to cultivate and live your life much happier than you have been living.